Settle in. Lower the lights. Let the world go quiet around you, and let the years fall away, 1,000 of them and more, until you are standing on the muddy bank of a wide grey river, in a cold country, at the edge of everything the warm south thought it understood. The river is the Volga. The year is 922, and beside you stands a stranger in fine robes, a very long way from home, about to witness something he will never be able to forget. Once you have heard it, neither will you. His name is Ahmad ibn Fadlan. He is a scholar, a man of law and faith, sent north out of Baghdad, in that hour the greatest and most learned city in the world, as part of an embassy from the court of the Caliph. His task was a quiet one, to carry a letter, to teach, to advise a distant king on matters of religion. It should have been ink and ceremony. Instead, after a year of hard road, of freezing winters and endless steppe, it brought him here, to this riverbank, among a people he had never imagined. They called themselves the Rus, northern men, traders, and warriors who had come down the great rivers from the lands of ice, and Ibn Fadlan had never in his life seen anyone like them. Tall as date palms, he wrote, fair-haired and ruddy, and every one of them marked from the tips of their fingers to the base of their neck with dark patterns pressed into the skin. Trees and figures inked in green and blue. They carried an axe, a sword, and a long knife at all times, and never set them down. He thought them the most magnificent bodies he had ever seen. And he thought them, in the very same breath, the filthiest creatures God had ever made. He was appalled by their habits, by what they did in the open, by a washing basin passed from hand to hand that he could barely bring himself to describe. His account swings page to page between wonder and disgust. He cannot quite decide whether he has walked in among gods or among animals, and perhaps that is exactly why, 1,000 years later, we are still reading him. Then, while he was among them, a great man of the Rus died, a chieftain, and Ibn Fadlan, the careful scholar, did the thing he always did. He watched. He asked his questions through an interpreter. He wrote it all down. And because he did, you and I can stand on this riverbank now and see it. First, they laid the dead man in a grave and covered it over, but only for a time, only for 10 days, while they cut and sewed the fine clothes he would wear into the next world. His wealth they divided carefully into 3, one part for his family, one part for the costly garments, and one part to buy the drink they would pour out across those 10 days of mourning. And then came the question that hangs over the whole of this story. They went to the dead man's slaves and they asked, "Who will die with him?" A girl said yes. Once spoken, it could not be taken back. From that moment, she was promised to the fire, and she spent her last days dressed in fine things, drinking and singing among them. Whether that was joy or the strange calm of someone who already knows how her story ends, Ibn Fadlan could not tell you. And neither, honestly, can we. On the final day, they drew the dead man's ship up out of the river and set it on wooden posts and heaped timber all around it. On its deck they built a couch and spread it with cushions and rich cloth, and over the whole of it now presided an old woman, grim and broad and severe, whom the Rus called by a name that Ibn Fadlan set down and that has never stopped echoing since. They called her the Angel of Death. Hers was the hand that arranged the ritual, and hers was the hand that would do the killing. They lifted the chieftain from his cold grave and dressed him in his new finery and set him upright on the couch, propped among bread and fruit and herbs and drink, so that he would want for nothing. And to furnish his journey they gave the fire animals, a dog, horses run until they steamed in the cold air, cattle, a cock and a hen, laid into the ship beside their master. Then they brought the girl to a strange wooden frame, and 3 times the men lifted her up above it, as though to let her look over the wall of this world and into the one waiting on the other side. The first time, she said she saw her father and her mother. The second time, all her dead kin seated and watching. And the third time she was lifted, she said she saw her master, in a garden green and beautiful, and that he was calling her by name, and that she must go to him now. So they took her down, and they took her to the ship. She gave away the bracelets from her wrists to the old woman, and the rings from her fingers to the woman's daughters, who had waited on her. She was given a cup, and she sang over it, and she drank. And then, inside the canopy, beside the man she had chosen to follow, she was killed. The old woman's blade, and a cord drawn tight by 2 men. And here Ibn Fadlan records a detail that is somehow quieter and more terrible than the killing itself. All around the ship, the warriors beat their shields with staves, a great wall of noise raised on purpose, so that the other slaves standing in the crowd would not hear how it ended and would not be afraid when their own turn came, some day, to volunteer. He does not look away as he writes this, and so we cannot look away either. Then the fire. The dead man's nearest kinsman came forward, and he was naked, and he walked backward to the ship carrying a burning brand, and he set the heaped wood alight. The flames climbed, and as they climbed, a wind came in off the river and caught them and lifted them, and the whole of it, the ship, the treasure, the man, the girl, went up in a roaring column into the cold northern sky. Beside him, Ibn Fadlan noticed one of the Rus laughing. He asked the interpreter what could possibly be funny, and the man's answer is the reason this account has never been forgotten. "You Arabs are fools," he said. "You take the people you love the most, and you put them in the ground, and you leave them there for the earth and the worms to eat them slowly over years. We do not. We give ours to the fire, and in a single hour they are gone, and in that same hour they are in paradise." "And that wind," the man said, still laughing, "that wind is his God, who loved him, come to carry him away before the hour is out." When the fire had eaten everything and left only ash and then only dust, they raised a low round mound on the spot where the ship had stood. And in the top of it they set a post of wood, and into that post they carved 2 names, the name of the dead man and the name of their king. And then they turned and walked away and left him to the quiet. Almost everything we picture when we imagine a Viking sent into the dark, the ship, the fire on the water, the sacrifice, the treasure going up in smoke, comes down to this, to one man. One riverbank, one account, written by an outsider who found these people beautiful and appalling in the very same breath, who may well have misunderstood some of what he saw, who could not always hide his disgust, and who wrote every word of it down anyway, because he could not stop looking. His pages were very nearly lost to us entirely, surviving only in fragments for centuries, until a fuller copy was found, almost by chance, in a library far to the east. He is the window. Nearly everything else is bone, and ash, and careful guesswork. And through him, across 1,000 years, you can still catch the smoke coming off that grey river. There is something in it, if you let there be. The thought that to these people death was not a pit in the cold ground, but a doorway, a fire, and a wind that came when it was called, that a name carved into a post in a hard country was enough to say the only thing that has ever needed saying. Here was someone. He was loved. He has only gone on ahead. So let the fire burn down to embers. Let the river carry the last of the smoke away, and carry into sleep the oldest and quietest thought of all, that in every age and in every tongue we have always found some way to tell our dead that we will not forget them. Rest now, and make history dark.